Welcome everyone to our last session. It's a pleasure to see so many of you here joining us for the last session. There's been a very interesting series. We've gone through a lot of different chapters, and a lot of us have had the space to have discussion about the topics that we've discussed. We've seen this series start off with the anti-bullying campaign being launched about a month ago. And now we are about to wrap up the campaign, and it's a pleasure to have Ms. Manjari with us today. So let me start off by an introduction of our esteemed speaker. Rotarian Manjari is a chartered psychologist with over 30 years of clinical, academic, and administrative experience who works with children, adolescents, and adults from multi-ethnic and multicultural backgrounds. She's an applied psychologist at Gleneagles Medini Hospital and a consultant clinical psychologist at Kensington Green Specialist Centre, Iskandar Putri, Johor. Thank you so much, Rotarian Manjari, for having some time with us today. And we look forward to sessions. You've got amazing slides, and we can't wait to have you take us through them. So over to you, Rotarian Manjari.
Everyone, good afternoon in Malaysia, and thank you so much, Sharrada, and thank you so much to NCMW for organizing these wonderful series. Right, so I will dive straight into my topic. Okay. All right, so I'll minimize this so that there is no distraction. I hope you all can hear me. Yes?
Loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so this is just an attempt to, convey the message and basically to support all those wonderful people there, and it's a different type of an approach, and I hope you are going to get the message. Okay, let me try. Okay, right. So basically I'm addressing this alphabet or whatever the symbol that you see, and it is basically I. Okay, I'm focusing on I. All right, so there are so many I's here. Basically we're talking about ourselves or you as an individual. Okay, so there are a couple of questions before we actually move into the topic. Okay, so on your journey, this is a question to everybody, including myself. Did you ever ask yourself this question? Why I was born? Where am I going? What next? Okay, so it's just a thought that came to my mind when I started preparing these slides, because I thought it was important, because we are living in a world, it's like full of chaos and so many things happening around us. So I think it's a good question to ask ourselves. All right, so on this journey, I think it's again a question that I would like to ask myself, whether I'm old or young or whatever. Who am I? And I am, so okay, so I'm Manjari, all right? And so if I'm saying, hi, I'm Manjari, and this is my journey to identify myself. So I'm not sure, I was born in 19 something, but I don't know if there are other, senior members here. But when we reach 2023, how would you describe yourself in 1 or 2 words? You can either put it in the chat or you just want to, give it a thought. Okay, just few seconds, then I'll move forward. I was born to be a Rotarian. Thank you so much, Arthur. Fantastic. Anybody else? Senior citizen. All right. I don't think so, Vidhi. You are so young and energetic. You're an inspiration to the whole world. Anybody else? Okay, so we'll move on because I think due to time constraints, if anybody else would like to add on, please do so. Okay, so I think I'll just move this down here. All right. So on this journey, can my feelings, emotions, and personality influence connecting with the I too? This is again another question. All right. So if that is the case, I think we have some GIFs here, all right, which are saying like, let me think about it. Okay. And if we are talking about age today and supposed to be the old age or twilight age or twilight years, then you can actually see, a couple of these people saying that I'm not old, I'm not sure about it. But you can also see here, the so-called old or twilight years related people, they are so active and they are so happy doing the dance there. Okay, right. So today's topic, we will be talking first about the highlight years, then the twilight years, and advancing years in the last. I'm not sure how many of you know this story, okay, but I thought this is important and it is interesting definitely to me. This is about blind men and elephant. Okay, I think a lot of Indians maybe here they will be able to relate to this. Okay, okay. So this is how it goes. So you can see the elephant, and each person has a different understanding or perception of the elephant. Okay, I think this is something related to our lives also. Okay, so if I'm actually looking at the elephant here and saying that, oh, this trunk is something like a snake, okay, and I can get an understanding about the trunk or the the tusk or the ears or the body itself or the tail. But basically, what I'm trying to say here is we all have probably this perception that I'm looking at something and thinking that this is life, right? I'm looking at something else and saying that, yes, this is life. But when we put everything together, I think that is what makes that life. Okay. And this is typically, I think, applicable to all of us, whether it is young or old or middle aged or whatever the age is. Okay. Right. So this is the topic for today, twilight or highlight years. Okay, and this I'm a Rotarian and I'm Manjari and I belong to RCJB, Rotary Club of Johor Bahru in Johor. So to understand the terminology, I'm sure you know this, but maybe it's a refresher for you. So what is highlight? So having glowing vitality or radiant, full of happiness, prosperity or vigor. Okay, so I am not sure, but I've heard this so many times. A lot of people, coming, especially because I work with elderly also, they come and say like, oh, those years were gone, now I'm here, I'm in this stage where I can't do stuff, I have problems, people are not responding, my kids are not with me. So if we are talking about that, then maybe we are talking about twilight years, okay, where a state of uncertainty happens. Sometimes things are very vague and it can become gloomy, okay, but it is not applicable to everybody, but it can be applicable to some people. So when we are talking about this I, which I introduced right at the beginning, what are we talking about? Okay, whether you are in like whichever age category, we are talking about family, children, self, social, friends, work, career, or profession, right? We are talking about all those things. So if we are talking about self or that I, so what is it that we are talking about as self? Okay, the self, it means it has a lot to do with your feelings, your emotions, how you connect with your entire being, how you can connect with your inner self. That is that I. Okay, and you will be able to understand shortly why I'm focusing on this I as part of this twilight or highlight years topic. Okay, and before we actually go into this particular slide, I think I will stop sharing here. I will pass the screen to Sharrada for her to share a bit of information that she has about this particular topic. Sharrada, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Manjari. So we're hoping to have the session more interactive as well, and we'd like to hear from all of you. So we've already started the conversation on what you think you are and what you think you are not. But let's take a guess of what do you think the life expectancy is in Malaysia? You can put your answers in the chat box. 70. All right, any other guesses? 73, you're getting closer. 80. All right, so the answer is 75.6 to be exact. And life expectancy at birth in 2021 has increased by nearly 12 years, according to the Statistics Department. 5 decades ago, life expectancy was at 63.6 years. And the chief statistician, Uzair Muhyiddin, had said that in a statement today to mark World Population Day. Those aged over 60 will comprise about 16.3% of the population by 2030, and the total population will reach 41.5 million in 2040. Life expectancy at birth in Malaysia from 2011 to 2021 by gender published by Erin O'Neill showed that the average life expectancy at birth in Malaysia by gender for women is about 77.36 years, while for male it's about 72.66 years on average. So going back to Ms. Manjari, would you like to tell us a bit more about why there's this difference? Why is the life expectancy increased in the past years? And also, why is there this difference between the genders as well, between male and female? Would you like to tell us a bit more about this?
Okay, so based on the studies and the evidence that we have, I think there are other studies related to this also, where I think they are talking about the coping mechanisms of the gender per se. Okay, and there are studies like, for example, say if I'm a man, okay, and I have lost my spouse, the studies definitely show that it it can be difficult for the man to cope the loss of his partner, okay, the spouse. Whereas the other way around, if you see, like for example, say I'm a female but I lost my partner, I lost my spouse, and it can be either, it's sort of inbuilt, or the gender, or the genes, or the responsibilities that I know I have to run the show, I have to run the family, I have to take care of my children or whatever. So that, of course, the grief, bereavement, all those periods are definitely there. But there is the drive, or that those are the maybe the coping skills again, that maybe helps the individual to maybe stay there to take care of the family, protect the family, and deal with all the responsibilities. That could be one of the reasons also. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Yes, you have. Thank you. So we've got one more question as well. Where and how do the elderly live? What would you say is the major difference between the elderlies, maybe in Malaysia compared to US, UK, India, and Australia? How would you say the lifestyle there affects the life expectancy as well?
Okay. All right. So I think in my observation, in Malaysia, I have noticed, yes, we do have some homes, but I think we definitely need more, and we need more, how shall I say, funds and the care, I think, to support the elderly. But I have definitely noticed that people do live on their own in Malaysia. They have either the family members, like the children, or they are on their own, but the children do come and visit. They have maybe a helper, live-in helper also, to take care of them in Malaysia. As compared to, again, from my observation, and the studies show that in the US and UK, or other overseas countries, they do have homes. It's like, it's a serviced apartments and service homes type of a structure. Even in India, we do have these things. Okay, it's like they're called retirement homes or something like that, where food is provided. They have a structure. They have like a daily routine to follow. And even at 70 or 80, if you are willing to do some sort of a voluntary work, you can always tell them that you are willing to do. It's not like a very heavy duty type of work, but that definitely keeps your mind occupied, and you are definitely leading a very healthy life. So this is about where elderly live. If anybody else would like to add on, please do. You can share in the chat also. All right.
Thank you, Rotarian Manjari. So anyone else who has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. In the meantime, perhaps you could return to our presentation first, and we'll come back to questions.
Right. Okay. So before I pull the slides up again, okay, so we are trying to understand whether the aging is really a physical or a psychological concept. This is what we are trying to understand. Okay, I'm sure you know all these things, but again, it's just to refresh your memories, I guess. So aging can be culture related. It can be something to do with tradition. It can be something to do with your personality, which I highlighted right at the beginning. And personality, again, in my experience, in my clinical practice, is something that has helped a lot of individuals to move forward, okay, in spite of the age, the number, it can be 80 or 70 or 90, whatever it is, but it definitely helped them to move forward. Of course, we are talking about genetics, the environment, the upbringing, education, socioeconomic strata, finances, support, family, children, or friends. So, when we are talking about aging, it is a natural and a gradual process, okay? Because again, whatever I'm sharing, it is from my experience, okay? If I'm wrong, you can always tell me. I have no issues with that. So again, it is like, when people are trying to already like reach 65, 70, it's already like kicking in and hey, I'm getting old, I can't do certain things. But it is a natural process, it is happening, and you can see changes happening. But whether we are able to accept that or not, that is what actually matters, because otherwise it becomes like a big thing that is coming and hitting you with a great force. Okay, so the awareness is something that we are trying to create, especially today through this particular session. It's the regenerative capacity of the body may decline. Okay, signs of wear and tear is there, and these you will be able to see in the next slide. It is coming up also, and it is something that you can see physically. Okay, so other life transitions like retirement, relocation, the death of friends and partners also can happen. But nowadays, again, we do have figures and statistics where it's not necessary that, I have to become 70 for me to, kick the bucket or whatever, but it can happen actually much earlier. Okay, so the physical changes, you can see it is happening like everywhere. Okay, the hair, the skin, senses, teeth, mouth, okay, bones, prostate for gents, the urinary or bladder problems, okay, heart, digestive system, brain and nervous system, liver and kidney, so suboptimal function. So whatever has been happening in the so-called normal way, the understanding is that it is slowly going down. Okay, this is generally the understanding. But again, we do have some studies where people are fine even when they are 90, they're able to do their stuff. Okay, there is no problem at all. Okay, so why is it that things are getting so complicated when we are talking about the twilight years and when we are talking about the age per se? Okay, so how many of us actually know about ourselves? Okay, so why I have put this is like it's again interesting because a lot of us, I think, we do go by like what others think about us, whatever age it is, right? So if somebody is saying like, hey, Manjari, you're 60 and you look so young, I'll be like, wow, fantastic, right? But at the same time, when somebody says like, hey, I think you have slowed down a bit, it will be like, I don't want that, right? But do I actually know about myself? Do I know my abilities, my capabilities, my skills, my tasks that I have been able to do in the past and I'm still able to do now? That definitely matters. So who are you basically? So that's the question that I asked right at the beginning. Do you know who you really are, or are you depending on somebody to tell you that, hey, this is you and you can do it, right? Okay, so personality is something that is important for us to focus on, especially when we are moving towards the twilight years or the aging process. Okay, so it is basically how you think, how you feel, how you behave, okay, and the patterns that make an individual. That is what this personality is all about. Okay, and it does make an individual work in a particular way. All right, say for example, if I'm a personality type, say, I think the most common are, there are so many different types of personalities, but I'm just mentioning, say, personality A or B. Okay, those who know about personalities like A, okay, they are very like driven, like super fast things they do, they're of course stress prone. On the other hand, maybe B is a bit more calmer, but again it depends on the individuals how and what type of activities that you want to do, how you want to manage your life. Okay, so there are often the groups in the personality is grouped into these 5 categories. Okay, so I'm just focusing on the topic, I'm not going into details. Openness, as in open to new experiences, which can become like more adventurous or creative. Okay, conscientiousness, so that is being reliable or self-disciplined or diligent. The extroversion, you can become that active person, you can become that energetic type of a person. You can be like forthcoming person. Okay, you can cooperate and you can be kind to others. Emotionally stable. Okay, so you can manage your emotions, moods, and things like that. This is where the personality comes into practice. So personality can change. So why I'm focusing so much on this is because again there are some studies which say that, okay, so down here if you can see in red, okay, the research psychologists actually asked whether these changes are linked first to personality characteristics, second to changes in the characteristics over time, and the answer is not necessarily. Okay, so I have also heard, people saying that as people grow older, this can be a myth, as people grow older, they become calmer. Okay, they become more religious. I think these are all myths. Okay, because personality is something that is there and it starts from like very young. Okay, I think you can even ask yourselves, those people who are here, it starts very young, and as you are growing, it is growing with you and it is there. You can make small changes, but I don't think there are drastic changes in your personality unless you are really working on it and you want to make a change for a better future or betterment, or maybe it's a requirement between maybe two partners and things like that. Okay. So this is again part of personality. Okay, this is again maybe a few seconds that I'm giving you. Please give it a thought if you have any of these personality traits. Okay, so if you're a calm person, from here, right, if you have any of these personality traits, maybe you'll be able to connect to it better. Okay, I'm guessing you will have at least 3 or 4. Okay, some are positive traits, some are maybe something that we may have to work on. All right, so I'll move on. Okay, so this is just information for you. So structure of successful aging. So we are looking at how do we actually deal with this concept of aging. Okay, so how do we deal with this concept of twilight years, which actually maybe disturbs some people. All right, so if you're talking about this was a study done way back in 1998. Okay, so structure of successful aging, there are 3 components here. So it is minimizing the risk of disease and disability. So how do we actually take care of ourselves? It can be physical, psychological, or emotional, or spiritual, whatever health that you want to call. All right. Then maintain physical and cognitive functioning. All right. Continue engagement with life. So this is the area that I would like to focus and that I have been actually focusing on until now through, that I took you through a journey of your personality and stuff like that. Now, this is, I think, something that all of us can maybe connect to, okay, whichever age you are at right now. I'm sure all of you have actually done this, right? So if you were able to bring out that beautiful from within, okay, maybe you're a mother, you're a father, you are maybe you are single now, but maybe you are looking at maybe a relationship or you want to remain single, whatever it is, but you would have made an impact on somebody's life. It can be a child, it can be your nephew, niece, if you're a teacher, your student, whoever, right? If you were able to bring out that beautiful person or personality from within, why are we having difficulties now to understand that there is that beautiful person or individual within, and that we have to bring out as part of the twilight or highlight years that we are discussing today. So again, these are the values that we have been, I think, focusing on as part of our NCMW series also, where we are also saying like, okay, we need to stop bullying, we have to be honest, we have to take care of each other, we have to appreciate each other. Again, the same question, are we appreciating ourselves? If we are talking about age as a concept. So what can be the obstacles? This is a self-audit. Please try to look within to understand. You don't have to share with me, you don't have to share with anybody, but this is a self-audit that maybe we should do. What are the obstacles for me to actually continue the journey? So that is what I'm focusing as advancing years. All right. So whatever we have discussed so far, I'm actually coming to the end of the topic. So if we are able to take care of ourselves, like what we have gone through, the journey that I have sort of taken you through until now, we don't have to really focus on these things and these myths remain myths. They don't become facts. Quickly to touch on depression and loneliness are normal in older adults. I think this is a common myth because a lot of people do relate to this, saying that in old age I'm going to be all alone, right? Not necessarily. Again, if you have your friends, if you are connected with people, it can be children, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your ex-colleagues, your co-workers. I think it just remains as a myth. Okay, the older I get, the less I sleep. I think generally, whoever it is, I think they definitely need the hours. Of course, again, this is a problem that I deal with in my clinic. You know, youngsters who come and ask me, I read on Google, it said that 7 to 8 hours sleep, it is a must. Um, I mean, it is something that I explain to all my patients, so I'm explaining here. So yes, you need to have your sleep. It can be 7 to 8 hours or whatever the hours, number of hours that are there, and it is maybe relevant to you. But again, there are individuals who can only work with 5 to 6 hours of sleep and no burnout. I have seen, I have experienced, okay, and they're okay. So which means the older they get, the less they sleep. Well, unless they have their some other problems, as in physical problems or any other problems, maybe yes. But otherwise, I think it still remains a myth. Can't learn new things, I doubt, because there are so many people I have seen. They are so good with technology, especially now. Everybody can use a smartphone. They can get onto Zoom. I think we also have some people here with us. And I really appreciate, hats off to you guys. Okay. And I think you guys are able to do it. Okay. So you can learn new things. Okay. Exercise, again, yes, you can do. You don't necessarily have to do rigorous exercises, but yes, you can do exercises. And we have evidence that people who are 70, 80, they are still going for jogging and they're doing marathons and things like that. In fact, we also have people who can weight lift. Cognitively impaired, I don't think so. Again, it depends on individuals how you want to train your mind and your brain. Most importantly, yes, mind can drive you to do stuff positively or even negatively. So keep that mind, a check on that. Older people don't have anything to contribute to society. I beg to differ on this. It is definitely a myth. They have so much to contribute and they have been contributing, and I'm really grateful to them. Most older people live in poverty. I don't think so, but unless they have had issues, various issues, whether, financial issues right from the beginning or whatever, or maybe they were not able to plan their finances, I'm not sure, but I think it's a generalized statement. Elders become more religious with age. I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm not sure about it. I don't think so. Okay, retirees suffer a decline in health and early death. Okay, so again, from my knowledge, I have had experience with dealing with those who were about to retire, and in my understanding and knowledge, there are the corporate organizations where they run special courses and special programs for those who are going to retire. Okay, because to take care of their mental health needs mainly, because once an individual retires, there is already this thing like, I'm useless, I'm worthless, people don't respect me, I'm not contributing financially to the family, and things like that. So that is definitely taken care of. And I think if we do that, yes, we can take care of all the problems. So the next one is about Alzheimer's or dementia. So again, it is a myth because it's not necessary, but there is a high risk. So if somebody in my family has dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever, yes, the risk is there. But again, how do I take care of myself? So it's not necessary that somebody has it in my family and I'm going to get it. Give up driving, I don't think it is necessary. Again, there are people who are driving even when they are 90. Only women need to worry about osteoporosis. Again, yes, osteoporosis can be there for women, but I think the gents also have to keep a check on their bones and things like that. Quit smoking or any type of substance addiction, I think it's not too late. Anytime if you want to give up, yes, you can give up. Again, blood pressure has lowered or returned to normal, so I can stop taking any medication or my medication. This is something I think that you need to discuss with your doctor or your physician. I think that person will be able to guide you better. So aging means the end of cognitive development? I don't think so. People can brush up their memories. People can do their activities as normally as possible if they are active. All right. Change in lifestyle and behavior wouldn't benefit a senior. Of course, definitely it will benefit. So it is definitely a myth. And there are so many people. In fact, I can quote from my own RCJB club. They are so active. They are into golf and things like that. I'll be like, wow, these guys are fantastic. Okay. They are sick, frail, and dependent on others. Again, I don't think so because we have facilities now, and of course in Malaysia also we have facilities, but I think we can still work on that and improve. In the West, I think we have more facilities. In fact, I remember, my husband's uncle who was in UK until 97, he traveled all alone, all by himself. He traveled everywhere. He went to India. Of course, he had maybe special privileges like any senior citizen would get, but otherwise he was like mentally okay, physically okay. Everything was going fine. All right. Little or no interest in sex or intimacy. I think it depends on age. I mean, I can share here with you guys. I do have some of the Westerners, especially, okay, they are still active sexually. I mean, they may not be like doing whatever they did some, 50, 60 years back, but they do have little bit of, hugging, kissing, and some sort of a foreplay. Okay, but yes, it is still there. All right, but it depends again on individuals how they look at it. All right. Okay, so with all those things, I'm moving forward. So this is again a question so that we connect with ourselves, so that we don't get into this so-called concept of twilight, highlight, all the time saying that um, so highlight or twilight, we don't get stuck in those things. As long as we connect with that, I think we are able to move on, and we are able to say like, okay, thought, word, and deed. That means whatever I am thinking, whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm doing in action, I think they are able to sort of sync or be in alignment, and I'm able to move forward in a healthy way. Okay, but if you disconnect with yourself, then problems can start. Okay, so it is better we stay connected with ourselves. Okay, so before I close, there are some tips that I would like to share with you guys, which again I think you are familiar with, but again I'm just refreshing your memories. So exercise and be active, leading a healthy lifestyle, learning new things. I think it definitely helps you with your abilities and your skills, with your brain and your mind. Be an interested person. I think it's very important. Don't ever say, please, that I'm not interested, or this doesn't interest me, or this is so boring. I think I can't do it, stuff like that. Indoor activities, if you can't do rigorous stuff, I think it is better to go and do something that you can actually do, like I think caroms or puzzles or chess or word games and stuff like that, which is, I think, still within your reach. Yoga, laughter yoga, traveling, sports, arts and crafts, ethics, values, and principles are important. So try and avoid self-medication, as in, it's like, oh, I think I did this before. I think I know how it works, and I think I should do. Because we definitely have to keep in mind, your physical, if ailments, if you have anything, or the digestion basically and stuff like that. It's always better to check with your physician or your doctor. Don't compromise on treatment. Okay, you are still important. All right, so don't delay in getting treatment. Okay, this is again important. Get the best treatment, or the seek help from health professionals. Maintain a healthy diet and weight. Stop smoking or any type of substance or alcohol. Well, again, there is a bit of a conflict or contradictions here, because in the West, everybody drinks basically a beer per day and they are fine. So of course, again, it depends. It's cultural, or the country that we are living, and the environment, the weather, all those things definitely matter. But if you have not been doing those things, I think it is safer to stay away from them. Personal hygiene, again, I'm just giving from my examples, patients that I see in my clinic. The minute people, I mean, I have maybe a couple of gentlemen with me who have retired, and immediately is like, I don't shave every day. I just shave once a week. I don't have to go for haircut, who is going to see me? I'm going to be fine at home, type of a thing. So I would request humbly, please don't do that. Take care of yourself. You are still worth whatever you have been all these years. Please be careful with your falls and accidents or burns. Okay, healthy sleeping routine. Please try to maintain. If you believe in God or higher power or nature, please continue to do so. Okay, that is something that was there with you, I think, all these years. I think it should just continue. So, in summary, so remember at the end of the day, it is you, okay, it is that I and I alone that is eternal, not in a selfish way though. Take care of yourself. And the journey continues. I thank you from bottom of my heart to all those golden years of sharing, caring, teaching, guiding, and nurturing our generations. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Manjari, for the very interesting presentation. We've got a few questions in the chat box. Those who have not put your questions in, feel free to put it in. And in the meantime, I'll start picking the questions so that you'll be able to answer. Are you happy with that?
Yes,
All right.
thank you. Yeah.
So we've got one question here regarding multiple personality disorder. Would you like to tell us a little bit more regarding that? It's about, is it normal to have and behave a certain way?
Okay, so multiple personality, if you are really talking about it from psychological or psychiatric perspective, I think it's like something called like split personality. Yeah, but I think multiple personality, it's a big term, to make a diagnosis. I'm not sure if we want to do that here, but okay, I can give you an example. Say, for example, I'm a professional. I'm in my clinical setting, and the way I behave at in my clinical setting is totally different from who I am with my friends or back home. Does that mean I have a multiple personality disorder? No, I don't think so, right? I'm actually doing my job, I'm actually playing different roles, right? But if you're talking about that multiple personality, I think the personality per se, it keeps like changing, maybe for the individual's benefit, as in maybe the person is becoming more selfish, and if the person is having like negative intentions like harming, homicide or suicide, most of the time it's like, towards the other person, right? From my experience that I have seen. And that is something that maybe we have to focus on as part of the multiple personality disorder. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Please feel free to put your question in the chat box. Right now, we don't have anything else, I think.
Okay, I asked a question about less communication or no communication between your children, especially when they're abroad. Does that lead to mental health issues?
Yes, sure. So again, I think it depends on individuals and expectations. See, when we are talking about families, right? So we start, say, I mean, I'm just talking about those who are married and when we start a family, right? So if I and my husband, we started a family, we want to have kids, and we have kids and we are bringing them up. As we are growing up, towards our children, what type of expectations do I have as a mother and the father? That definitely matters. Okay. So there are individuals who don't want the child to go overseas and study. I'm not saying it's a wrong thing. Okay. Please don't get me wrong. Okay. For various reasons. Okay. So it can be like, I can't stay away from you. Okay. When you go over there, I'm not sure what you're going to do, whether you're going to call me or not, something is going to happen. So that actually, that type of a fear or insecurities can start when the child is actually going overseas or away from home basically to study also. Okay. So if that is happening, it is already there for the mother or father. It can be anybody, right? And at a later point, say if I'm say 65 or 70 or even 80, and if I don't get a call as promised by my child, then yes, it hits me like really hard, saying that he doesn't remember me anymore, he or she, whoever. Okay. He doesn't care for me anymore. Every time I have to call and say, hey, are you okay or not? you forgot to wish my birthday on my birthday, you see, then yes, that definitely hits. But there are so many individuals who are okay. They are like, it's okay. You just lead your life. We are okay. If you want to come for a festival, come and see us. We are happy. If you cannot make it, also it doesn't bother me. But again, it depends on the individual. I hope I answered your question, PAG Nagesh.
There's a follow-up question as well from that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
from the chat from Lily Lee, is panic attack a symptom?
Yeah, panic attack, it depends again why it is happening and to whom it is happening, in what situation, how old they are. Okay, panic attack can be like a sudden thing that happens. On the other hand, anxiety is like it's there longer. Okay, and in anxiety generally is like you're not very sure like what is it that actually is causing anxiety, whereas in panic you are able to say like yes, a particular thing is causing panic. So panic attack can be like for married people, or for the, it can happen to anybody basically, but it can happen to people like, say if I'm a child, okay, and I'm a child as in I'm a grown up adult and I'm supposed to go home visit my parents, okay, who are not really old but they're in their 70s, but for some reason last minute I cancel, okay, but I'm not really giving an example or a reason why like I'm canceling it. So that can affect my mother or my father. That can give a bit of a panic. Are you okay or not? Everything okay or not? Right? If I married, your husband okay or not? Your kids okay or not? They can panic a bit. But that panic may not be clinically panic. You able to follow? It can be like a jerk, but it's not like that panic which can pull somebody down. But again, it depends on individual. So I'm not generalizing here. Okay.
I think that would be about it for today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Manjari. You've
All
answered
right.
all the questions really well.
Thank you.
It was an amazing presentation as well. It was a pleasure to have you here with us today. I'll
Thank
be
you.
passing it back to our MC, Gurmin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharrada. And once again, thank you very much, Rotarian Manjari. I, for one, actually enjoyed the presentation, particularly learning about the twilight years or highlight years. I think if I may just conclude it by adding that, yes, oftentimes we as the Asians, be it in an Asian country or even in a Western country, being Asian, I think we do have a preconceived notion that self-care seems to be a selfish thing. So we don't really practice self-care, but then ultimately self-care is actually very underrated, and it's very important to ensure that our mental health is healthy, or at least it is on the journey of being healthy. So therefore, I would like to really thank you for this wonderful presentation, very well articulated, very simplified. And on that note, if there are no more questions, maybe we could perhaps end the session. Any
Okay,
question, PAG Nagesh?
No, just one more slide to be shared. Okay, NCMW website. Okay, there are a lot of resources. Please share with your friends and family. I'll just share that now. Okay, this is where you need to go and see. There are a lot of what do you call care line. You can call them and seek help if you have any issues. And most of them are, if I'm right, free. Okay, and this website you can visit, and there are a lot of what do you call resources here. You have videos of last Himachais talks and articles. Just have a look at it. It's called ncamw.com.my. Okay.
Nagesh, could you help on clicking the emergency resources, please?
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
top, the red one, emergency
The
resources.
one beside resources. So there's another one, emergency resources.
Your left, yeah.
Back some more.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, okay, this one. So here we have lots of categories of issues, and if you have any particular issue and you would like professional advice on a very personal basis, you can always click the contacts. If you don't mind, Nagesh, can you click on view contacts? Any view contacts? No, down. You see, yeah. Okay, there you go. You'll have a list of people who are specialized in this issue, and you can always email them or contact them on by WhatsApp. So when you click on WhatsApp, the consultant will receive a message verifying that it's from the NCMW website, and you can communicate on website as well. On WhatsApp as well. You can continue to chat. Yeah, so we have provided all these resources. So if anyone would like to make use of this, please do. Yeah, it's at the NCMW website. Thanks.
Sorry, Rotarian Manjari, I'm not sure if you are able to take in one more question. There's been a question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
Is that the histrionic type of a thing?
Correct.
I think Murali Rao has asked. Yeah. So basically, I think these people are very attention-seeking behavior. They have very dramatic, very they can become emotional. They can become like very volatile. So the manipulation is interesting part as part of this histrionic disorder, personality disorder. So the manipulation can be, of course, again to benefit them. It is for selfish needs and things like that. There is also another condition that you may want to focus on if you're talking about, because there's a lot of stuff on online, the histrionic you can look up. The manipulative part can also be part of, say, if you're talking about, say, narcissistic personality disorder, right? They also can be manipulative. But again, the common thing that you see is the self-esteem is down in histrionic and narcissistic also. Okay. And the way they behave, especially in narcissistic, is like very authoritative. It's like that I is really big. I know everything. I am this type of a thing, right? But the manipulation is actually happening even in this for their benefit. Okay, so here it is like a lot of drama and attention seeking is happening, and it's for their own benefit that they behave in a particular way. That's that histrionic part of it. Okay. Anything else? Is it common among teenagers? How do we help them? Okay, I think teenagers, it is difficult for me to say, as in all teenagers are like that, but we have to take into consideration for teenagers, their background, the family background, the age, the peer influence. Okay, attention seeking can be there, but I don't know whether they really fall under that histrionic type of a character or personality disorder, because before we actually jump to the conclusion or the diagnosis of that, we have to take into consideration a lot of other issues. The most common that I see is, I'm not blaming anybody again, don't get me wrong, parental expectations. Okay, parents' expectations is one, teachers' expectations also is there. Okay, this is a very common problem, and nowadays, again, since I work with teens, I'm able to see this because they are struggling, and the teachers are pushing the students. If there is an A plus or A star student, the teachers are pushing them to like really put in effort, more effort, and it's like I'm not able to do. I'm breaking down already, but they are able to like push them to do those things. Why? Because if my grades go up, the school grades go up, the teachers are doing their job properly. So I think we have to take into consideration all those things. Narcissistic behavior. Narcissistic personality disorder, I think it's a big difference. Narcissistic behavior generally can be like very dominant, authoritative, I know everything, very grandiose behavior. That is typically narcissistic behavior. But if you have to go into personality disorder, we have to take into consideration a lot of other things also. Okay. All right. Personality. Yes, Gurmeet.
All right, I think that I don't see any more questions. Are there any more questions? Otherwise, we would have to wrap this up.